Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again. Hit the subscribe button. Get ready to hit the like button at the end of this video. After the last couple of days, we're going to take a quick detour back to Phyrexia All We Won today, because there was one card I realised I hadn't covered. Done all the other variations of it, but this one I hadn't covered, and I figured, okay, better rectify this now. But I want to try and do something a little bit different with it. So, the card I'm talking about today is Zopandrel, Hunger Dominus. 5 and double green for a legendary creature Phyrexian horror. You're expecting that bit. It's 4/6, so it's not great for 7 mana, but the next bit probably is. Reach, not so sure about that, but at the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until the end of turn. Okay, I'm going to make all my creatures massive. Now, and then obviously it's still got the same Dominus effect that a lot of the other cards have. Pay 4 life or 2 life and a green or 2 green and sack a couple of creatures and put an indestructible counter on it. Fine, no issue with that. Would I prefer trample over reach? Yes. Would that have put it over the top? Yes. Can I understand why Wizards did that? Yes. Am I disappointed? Yes. So anyway, we've got reach. Okay. But the one way, there's lots of ways of doing this. You know, people play big creatures, hard on the ramp, big creatures, get it in, double it, make sure they've all got trample, win that way. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I understand that point of view, but I want to try something slightly different. Still the same win idea at the end, make the creatures big, get in, but I decided to go down a different route. And the different route I went down is to use elves. I decided to go down kind of like semi-elf tribal with this deck. Elves, a lot of elves have the natural ability to pump themselves up or pump the other elves in play and keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. And I thought it'd be a little bit different, a little bit more fun. And I've got some pump effects as well. So, the mana base, really simple. Castle Garenbrig, a whole load of forests, and then I've chucked in, so the cost of this deck is going to be a little bit high if you're trying to build it. Well, it's going to be really high if you try and build it in real life. MTGO, not too bad. We've got Gaea's Cradle, Nykthos, Path of Ancestry, Relic Tower, Temple of the False God, and Yavimaya Cradle. No other fancy lands in here, apart from those. Because why do you need them? You're playing a mono green deck. You don't need to do fancy stuff with mono green. But, Zopandrel is a 7 mana commander, so we do need to ramp quite hard to get them out, hence why we've got Tantalite, Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, Mana Vault, Sol Ring, Moss Diamonds, Thought Vessel and Arcane Signet all in the deck, along with Utopia Sprawl, just so we can really try and ramp as quickly as we can to get there. We've got another couple of ways of ramping and we'll get to them as we go through the deck tech. But basically what I've decided is for this deck, I want to do more of the, like I say, the elf ball side of it and try and win off the back of then making all the elves big, then doubling their toughness and power with Zopandrel at the beginning of combat and then seeing how it goes from there. So, got the usual selection of 1-drop elves I expect to see. So we've got Arbor Elf, Elvish Mystic, Vinewood Elves, Llanowar Elves. But I've also chucked in Jasper Sentinel, mainly because it's a little bit tiny, 1 point tougher than the others. I've got Essence Warden so we can gain some life and keep alive as we go through it. And the other 2 1-drops. Collective Voyage is fast becoming one of my favourite green cards ever printed. I'm starting to really enjoy this card. Yes, it ramps everyone else in play, but you can do it. I've done it before, where I've gone Forest, Crypt, Mana Vault, and Sol Ring, which is a bit beardy, I know. Paid the 1 mana for Collective Voyage, and I've got, everyone's got 6 lands in play by the start of turn 2. And people really enjoy it, and they tend to leave you alone if you do that as well, so it does work. Just, make sure if you've got this in your deck, you've got some mana to jump into it when you cast it. So from that point of view, it's really fun. And then the other one I've put in is a kind of a I want to win this turn card. Now, I'm not playing Concordant Crossroads early. I will be honest about this. Giving everybody haste is probably not the best idea in the world. But if I've got the win in my hand, or I think I've got the win on the board, and I need a few extra creatures to attack with, this is the turn I will play Concordant Crossroads so I can attack with anything I cast that turn that doesn't have haste. Hence why it's in the deck for a change. Carrying on with the 2-drops, we've got Druid of the Cowl to ramp, Elvish Visionary to draw, Elvish Warmaster pumps our creatures. Make sure you pay the 7 mana if you can afford to. before combat. So you pay the 7, you've got Zopandrel in play. Yeah. Even your Elvish Visionary, if it's been pumped by the War Master, is a 3/3, and then it becomes 6/6 with trample and with death touch in this case. So yeah, it's most people are going to have to block it with something to kill it off. So bear it in mind. But that's the same for all the pump effects. Make sure you do your pump effects before combat if you've got Zopandrel or one of the other cards in play, because that's how you double up and get the result you want with this deck. Anyway, Gala's Greeters in just to do the treasure token bit and eventually start pumping itself up some +1/+1s. Heroic Intervention to save us all from everything. I will just point out that Elixir of Immortality is in the deck as well, in case everything does get wrapped away. Incubator Druid, just so we can ramp and then adapt, make it big. Rampant Growth to go and find a forest. Elvish Chancellor, Clan Caller, sorry, is also another one that pumps our elves up. Second ability is irrelevant, but giving all our elves +1/+1 helps greatly. Lightning Greaves and Swift Boots are in to protect Zopandrel until we can do the indestructible thing, and also for a couple of the other creatures we do need to protect when we get there, but I'll point them out when we get to them. Over into the 3-drop land, I've put Azusa in. Yes, it's not an elf. Still think she should be. I never really worked. I know it's Champions of Gamma when she first came out and it was all human based, but really think she should have been the lone elf in the set. But yeah, we need to ramp the mana out because we need to hit this quickly, so it's worth having Azusa in. Beastmaster Ascension. Okay, this will only trigger when you attack, so you've missed a step to get the doubling, but if you're attacking, you've got a load of creatures attacking, they've got double power because of Zopandrel, you might be able to get the +5/+5 as well, so that's always good. Cultivate in Kadoma's Reach, just to go and get some more forests out of our library. Elvish Rejuvenator, go and find a land. Sorry, frog in my throat. Growing Rights of Ismalatex also here. Might as well have the secondary Gaia's Cradle in this deck. We want the land. We want to be ramping as hard as we can for this deck, so it's here. Marwyn the Nurturer. Yep, you're going to have a load of elves coming to play. You might as well start pumping their toughness up and getting that extra mana. Rex Sage to deal with anything that's annoying us. Ronus comes into play. And okay, it should come into play as able to be used as a blocker, because I would imagine you can get something with power 4 or greater, but if not, another target creature gets +2/+0 and gains trample for 3 mana. Not too bad. Wood Elves, go and find a land. Course of a Crew Fix, play those lands off the top of your library. Again, it's not an elf, but it's worthwhile. You need a little bit of more life gain, I figured, this deck. Plus, want to get the lands into play, hence why it's here. Elvish Archdruid, we all know what this does, +1/+1 to all elves, and then tap it to add green for each elf we control. And Azuri, Renegade Leader, does the whole regenerating elf for 1 green, and then pay 3 green and 2 to give all your elves +3/+3 and trample to the end of turn. Yep, another great thing to do before the beginning of combat if you've got Zopandrel in play. Canopy Tactician pumps up our elves, gives us a little bit of mana ramp. Nylea, God of the Hunt, gives all our creatures trample, which is something I really need to make sure we had. I was looking for a way of giving them all haste, hence why Concord and Crossroads is here. But we want to be able to make sure that even if our opponents do block, we're still getting damage in. Giving everything trampled due to Nylea worked in my head. Oracle of Mildai, play lands off top of our library, play an extra one, fine. Beast Whisperer, just so we can do the card draw, because we will be casting a lot of spells with this deck. Green Guildleaf Dean, another way of pumping our elves up with the +1/+1, and a little bit of life gain when we get to attack with them. And Epic Struggle, backup. My point of view, this is a backup win condition in this deck. The chances are we will have 20 or more creatures in play at some stage, and we've got 34 creatures in the deck, so we're bound to hit it at some stage with a bit of luck, or tokens that we're producing off our Elvish War Master. And hopefully we'll be able to keep him in our upkeep and then win at the beginning of the game that way, if we can't get through with damage. Garrickson, just to untap the lands and ramp things up again, but the -4 creatures +3/+3 trample, another great way of making sure we can get that lovely doubling of the power and toughness before combat. Masked Admirers, I chucked in because I want a little bit more card draw, and I figured because we are casting enough creature spells in this deck, having 2 spare green mana wouldn't be the hardest thing in the world if it's died off to get back into our hand and then possibly recast the same turn. Triumph of the Hordes I'm not sure about. It always seems a bit of a beardy card to me with the infect side of it. But at the end of the day, it pumps our creatures up. It gives them more trample. Doubling things up with infect seemed like a really good idea. We are using a Phyrexian commander after all, so it's kind of on there. And then Overworld Oddity. Sorry, I'll just make this bigger for 2 seconds. You can see it. There you go. Trample Haste 4/4. Pay 7 mana, transform it. Other creatures you control get +1/+1, have trample and haste. It's another way of giving everything trample and haste on one card, so it's got to be worth a try, hasn't it? Moving over to the 5-drop land, Freyalise is here just to pump out some more elves for us, which helps with our epic struggle and our ramping. God Eternal Ronus, when it hits play, doubles the power of each creature we control, and they get vigilance. So potentially vigilance, trample, and haste for 1 attack phase. No one's really going to complain about that, are they? Voice of the Woods, just so we can get some big blocks if we need them. We'll have a lot of elves we can probably untap where we're not doing the haste thing. Tap, sorry. And get the 7/7 green elemental token with trample, which becomes a 14/14. Still an elf though, so this gets pumped up by all of the effects we've been talking about already. Overrun, I figured we might have the original ultimate ability from Garrick in the deck as well, but it hits all the creatures, so even the few non-elf creatures that aren't getting pumped up will get affected by this. And I've also chucked in Unnatural Growth. It's exactly the same as the Zopandrel ability, but it's on an enchantment, and it's 5 mana, 4 of which is green. In any other deck, it's probably going to be really hard to cast, and this deck should be pretty straightforward and pretty easy. Wolverine Riders is in. This came in the Kaldheim Commander deck. I don't know if people have seen it before or not, but at the beginning of each upkeep, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token, and whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, gain life equal to its toughness. So basically, this is one of the main targets we've got for the boots or the lightning greaves to protect it once we get it in play. Bear that in mind. Another way of giving everything haste, and I thought a little bit of fun, would be Akroma's Memorial. A whole load of flying at elves with first strike, vigilance, trample, protection from black, protection from red, and haste. Again, a nice, easy, fairly straightforward for us to get up to 7 mana in casters. Even with just 36 lands in the deck, the amount of ramp we have shouldn't be an issue. And then down the end here, a few more win conditions. End race 4 runners, create a hoof, you all know what they do. Camel Heart of Crows is in as well, another one that isn't an elf, but beginning of combat on our turn, we get to give everything +3/+3 in trample until the end of the turn, so it has a built-in static overrun effect. Again, another target for something we could put the boots or the greaves on to protect it if we need to. The Great Henge, why not? It's gonna be a little bit more expensive to cast, but once some of the elves start getting big and you're getting things pumped, it comes down greatly. But 2 life, 2 mana, card draw, you can't complain in green. And then finally, it's a mono green deck, and I've had to put my favourite card ever in, Genesis Wave. Sorry, excuse me. What I have noticed with this deck is you can actually do Genesis Wave for quite a large number, have all the creatures come into play, and still get the trigger for Zopandrel, which is just stupid. Because, the chances are, with the amount of cards, I think the biggest decks I've done with this deck so far is 22. And I still had mana left over because I knew I had the Overworld Oddity in play. So I think I had 33 mana available at the turn because Gaze Cradle was flipped, was in play. The Growing Rights had flipped, and I had enough creatures in play to do it that way. So I did it for that number so I could do this bit and flip it. And I did win on that turn. But it's worth playing. Sorry, I just love Genesis Wave. End of. But that's it. That is my take for today on Zopandrel, Hunger Dominus. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you've hit the subscribe button. I've had a bit of flux in the numbers the last couple of weeks. I went up to 158 for a while. As I filmed this morning, I'm down to 156 again. I really wish YouTube would tell me what people would unsubscribe, but hey, that's the way it goes. But hopefully you've hit the sub button. And I'll be back tomorrow. We will be going back to March of the Machine tomorrow. I promise there'll be another deck tech on March of the Machine and all the ones next week. So most of the ones next week as planned, is assuming things work out how they should do. But anyway, this was Zopandrel, the one I hadn't covered, so I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've hit the like button. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think I've missed out, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.